Hi, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here. My name is Jessica Leibler. I'm an associate professor at the Department of Environmental Health at the BU School of Public Health. I'm going to talk about rodents, everyone's favorite animal to hate. But I find there's actually a lot to love about rodents and actually a lot to appreciate, especially in their adaptive capacity. So the way I have thought about rodents in my research has been in a number of key ways. I'm sorry. The first being as sentinels of emerging diseases among populations who are vulnerable to different sorts of disease exposures in particular. So research into wild animals can provide this critical information about viral chatter, about bacterial chatter that's going on in the animal reservoir. And from a public health perspective, there are many of you in the audience who are interested specifically in the ecosystems and the biology of rodents. I think from the human health perspective. And so think about what's happening in the ecosystem that's driving disease emergence in these animal systems. And then who are the human populations who are affected? Who are these intersected populations? And as we know, rodents have adapted exceedingly well to human urbanization. You know, we think of the animals that have adapted exceedingly well that offer a lot for us to learn from. Rodents, mosquitoes, we've talked about squirrels, increasingly wild turkeys that those of you in suburbia see quite a bit. There are some animals that adapt very well to cohabitation with us. And rodents, we know in particular, carry pathogens of relevance to human health. And the focus of my work in this area has largely been on unsheltered or inadequately sheltered people in urban areas in the United States who have intensified exposure to these pathogens. Just in brief, in thinking about how climate stressors affect rodent-borne disease, thinking about extreme temperatures, increases in temperatures, extreme weather events, from heat to flooding events, for example, lead to disruptions in the ecosystem for different sorts of animals, but habitat disruption, changes to predators, and to food sources, which can lead to population level disturbances for rodents. And so for those of you who have been in the BU area during some of these massive construction episodes, we can see that firsthand, how habitat destruction leads to the animals changing where they live, looking for different food sources in different places. Behavioral changes, also reproductive challenges, which leads to different types of interactions with other species, including humans, and potentially increased direct and indirect contact with humans in our living environment. So there are many different kinds, thank you, there are many different kinds of rodent-borne disease. Rodents can serve as a reservoir for diseases where there is an insect vector between the rodent and humans. Bartonella is an example. Hantavirus, Rickettsia species are an example. They serve as reservoirs directly of pathogens of clinical relevance. LCMV is an important one. Leptospirosis, an important one. Also antibiotic resistance genes. This has been an area of my work over the last few years. And novel and emerging viruses as well. There's some exciting studies I'm sure some of you have seen about rats that are found in the subway system in New York City and genetic components of new viruses, interesting viruses. It's an exciting area of research. But rodents also are the cause of other issues of public health concern. They're a very well-known respiratory irritant and allergen, especially aggravating for children with asthma and low-income housing. And there's also mental health components of exposure to rodents in your living environment, which is an interesting kind of emerging area of how it makes you feel to see rodents in your living environment. I'm interested in reaching out and connecting with any of you who are interested in collaborating along some of these lines. Here's two mice collaborating, I suppose, specifically looking around research focused on unsheltered people in the United States and exposure to rodents and other animals. Thank you.